Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the Dark Match. I'm No Leaf Clover, and with me tonight
This is Jingus.
Hey, this is Christopher Says.
And this is your proxy friend Backlash. And as always, it is time for yet another What's Iron Sheik tweeting now? This one's a bit of an old one, and it's in response to comedian Rob Riggle, who tweeted simply Happy Easter. And Iron Sheik came back with the response. Said to you, even though you look like the Jew when I see you.
The Iron Gibson, everybody.
What is it with him and Jews lately? I don't understand this.
It's an Arab thing.
Yeah, I think he's a different league than Gibson.
I guess.
Hey, if I learned anything from the argument over Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time movie, it's that you do not call a Persian an Arab. Somehow they're different.
I guess.
Well, I guess if you called an American a Mexican, they would be equally unhappy, so.
Yeah, pretty much. But on that note, before we derail ourselves any further, we're getting off to a bang up start tonight. We are here tonight to talk about WWE Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules, as Brian Alvarez would say it.
Dude!
Not to be confused with One Night Stand.
Yeah.
Or Lockdown.
The most 90s sounding pay-per-view title on their entire obsolete list of titles.
Well, that was originally the ECW one, so it's fit.
Yeah, it was One Night Stand, and they decided we can't call it that anymore.
No, we have to edge away by calling it One Night Stand Extreme Rules.
And then they just changed it to Extreme Rules, which...
And now it's basically the old hardcore gimmick matches pay-per-view, which is a very TNA-ish concept. It's unusual that they made every single one of these some kind of a gimmick match. But we'll get back to that later.
But unlike TNA, they don't do it very often, so...
Yeah.
Well, TNA doesn't do it.
It wasn't all the same gimmick match.
Yeah.
And for a pay-per-view that's supposed to be extreme, it all feels so very reserved in this PG era of the WWE.
Well, not all of it. One match
nice.
almost saw a guy die a couple
we'll get
of times.
to that
We'll get
one
to that.
specific match.
But let's kick it off tonight by talking about the first match on the card. It was a last man standing match between Randy Orton and CM Punk. Christopher says if you want to break down kind of what happened in this match, because you're actually better at it than me.
Break it down? Well, I'm actually quite daunted because this was a long one, but I had kind of negative expectations about this, like, as soon as they announced that it was going to be the first match. But nonetheless, they kind of did the format pretty well. It looked like they were hitting each other hard, and for that very reason, it was a good last man standing match. It basically started out with sort of like strikes, like them like Punk is using his kicks, Orton's using his like punches. They eventually get out a cane, like they really start fucking with a Singapore cane, and you could look on Twitter for the results of that. Like Punk tweeted a picture of his back, and it looks quite grisly. There's one notable spot that occurred towards the beginning was Punk sets up a chair between the top rope and the middle rope. They kind of tease around, like Orton throws Punk into it, like he avoids it. Punk teases throwing Orton into it, and eventually Punk just gets whipped the fuck into it and completely crashes onto the outside. It was a good spot. Like really can't complain about it. There was like a lot of, and I can't. It's hard for me to just like break it down chronologically, but
yeah, I mean, well, all we have to do is hit like
20
the
minutes
major
long.
spots or whatever.
You don't
Going
need to
through every
recap
single
that
spot,
20 minutes.
we'd be here all night.
Yeah. We can do the greatest hits, you know.
But yeah, suffice it to say though, like, it put over both performers well, specifically Punk, because I mean, at the point where he took an RKO and like just before the 10 count got up but rolled outside, like it was a really good way they did it. Do you guys remember the point where they were outside by the announce desk, and I believe that was when Orton hit an RKO, but the table didn't crash. Like, I don't know that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, they do that spot all the time where someone takes a bump off the table, but I don't know what they're making those tables out of these days, but they don't break anymore. Unless you're Triple H.
Japanese
Unless
table.
you're Triple H, then it'll break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll break before he even jumps for the pedigree. But nonetheless, like, quite a bit of stuff going on outside. Like, for one notable segment I remember was Orton just clotheslining him, Punk into the apron, then into the barrier and power slamming him, like, off the rebound from that. It was
a sweet power slam.
Yeah.
Really well done. Where he rotated him in place. You know, most power slams you kind of go off to one side a little bit. Somehow he like grabbed him and did a full 180 and just planted him on the ground.
I mean, this was a really, really solid opener. I was kind of surprised when it was the opener. You're like, this is just like WrestleMania. That's like the fucking opening with Del Rio. But this was actually a really solid match. Lots of good action. It was since Randy Orton's going to SmackDown, it was a really good blow-off match. Surprise, surprise, we're using gimmick matches to blow off shit now. Go figure.
Yeah.
A couple of things I'd add. First of all is that we didn't mention that when Punk came down with Nexus 2.0, the GM dinged in on the computer and sent them all to the back and said they weren't allowed at ringside. And also, how safe they did most of these spots really stuck out to me, because even though it was brutal, and there is that picture of CM Punk's back afterwards, in which I counted no less than 10 separate marks you could see from individual cane shots.
Speaking of greatest hits.
Yeah, but still, a kendo stick shot to the back, that is going to cause skin abrasion, but that's pretty much the only serious damage it could possibly cause. You'll notice they never hit each other in the head with that. You know, as opposed to, like, if they'd done this match in old ECW, it would have been, 20 hits to the head apiece.
Yeah.
So they are still finding new ways to do really hard-hitting matches in ways which still adhere to their new rules of doing things more safely, which I think is a very good thing overall.
Yeah,
but nonetheless...
Sorry.
This would be a trend with the rest of the matches in the pay-per-view. Both performers were really showcased well in the sense that they didn't allow, for instance, they didn't book Orton to Punk. Like, he threatened it, but they all moved out of the way. Like, towards the end of the match, there was a lot of that good, it would be a near fall situation, but Punk tries the GTS, Orton wiggles away from it. Orton then responds with trying to RKO, he wiggles away, that kind of thing. It was very well done in that regard.
And I'd say, honestly, I think this was the best. Personally, I think this was the match of the night.
Yeah, I would.
I know I'd get some disagreement with the ladder match.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. And I'll explain a little bit why later. And the thing is that I, for a while, was not a big fan of Orton and was not a big fan of Punk either. So, I mean, I'm imagining me telling the me of 5 years ago that and being, what the hell are you talking about? The boring guy versus the Japanese creator wrestler? Are you kidding? But they did very, very well here.
Yeah, excuse me, I just hit puberty there for a second. But this is a perfect example of how you do a PG style hardcore match. You know, everybody wants the blood and everybody wants the guts. I mean, I think even at the beginning of the show we said, I wonder if anyone's going to bleed tonight. And I think someone got busted open. A couple people got busted open.
Hard way.
Hard way.
Yeah.
But it was proof that you don't have to have all that stuff. It was a good psychologically based match. Punk and Orton both got in the right amount of offense, and Orton wins. And I know everyone's gonna bitch and moan and groan about fucking Orton winning and blah blah blah, but he had to win. You know, it's the blow-off match, and the fucking face.
He's gonna be. As soon as they give up with the Christian belt experiment, which I expect in a month or two, he's going to be the top guy on SmackDown. He needs to be kept strong.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened for the finish was that they were struggling on the top turnbuckle, and Like we expected it to happen, but nonetheless, the way it was executed was good. Orton takes Punk by the neck, RKO top rope, done, and it looked, in my opinion, more like a diamond cutter than his snap
Punk
jumping.
Took almost like one of those bumps that RVD used to take for the RKO, where he just kind of face plants himself into the mat, and that was remarkably well done as well.
One thing I do think is weird, because before they did the RKO, Punk was teasing a GTS off the top rope. And my question is, how does that hurt more than the normal GTS? Because wherever you're standing, it's just a knee to the face.
Yeah, Punk was
the theory there is that you have momentum traveling those extra 4 or 5 feet off the top rope down into the knee.
Okay, I can get someone
moving at a higher speed into your face into their knee.
No, I get if someone threw him off the top rope, but if they're both on the top rope, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because when they hit the ground, the knee is stationary, or the knee is rising upwards, but the guy, in theory, who's coming down off the top is coming down with more speed and more momentum in a downwards angle, so his face is coming down much more rapidly towards the knee than usual.
Or in other words, it's wrestling.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Logic was...
Yes, I did used to be a play-by-play commentator, goddammit. I had to make up theories to explain bullshit like this all the time.
Makes about as much sense as Sheamus jamming his knee into someone's back while they're standing on the ring steps.
That's kind of like the multiplier theory that Spoonie and Miles had, where it's like if you have a chair and a trash can and you're jumping off the top rope, even if it's the same distance, and there's something else involved, it's like makes it all hurt more.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, moving on from that match, we go backstage to see a replay of Sheamus attacking Kofi, and then backstage, Sheamus is with Teddy Long, and the stipulation for Sheamus and Kofi's match, because they didn't announce it yet, is that it's set up to be a tables match. And Sheamus says he's upset that he's the U.S. champion and he's wrestling someone who isn't from the U.S., and he's like, I want to see Kofi's birth certificate. And God damn it, did we have... WWE, reference this type of shit all the time.
First off, that is incredibly lame. And second of all, pot, kettle, black!
That's part of the point. The gimmick is that, hey, you're not from fucking American, but you're acting like you're American. I mean, that's the bad joke.
Yeah.
But the strange thing here is that they put it in... Basically, he's doing like a retarded heel gimmick at times, which is not unusual in the WWE, such as Sir Michael Cole thinking he's really a knight. But in this case, it was strange to me that, Trump, who this is obviously aimed at, or the birthers, that sounds like, wouldn't you expect Vince to be a birther?
Yes.
Wouldn't you expect him to be the sort of crazy Republican who's like, it's a conspiracy. It's all a work, brother. He wasn't born in America. And they're putting the joke about the birth certificate in the mouth of the heel, the un-American heel.
It is
making people who say that look stupid, which I thought was odd.
I certainly expect Vince McMahon to be like that too, but it is a step up from Chris Nowinski debating Scott Steiner on the war in Iraq, and Chris Nowinski. But nonetheless, what's good about Sheamus and what particularly shined during this match was that when he's in a situation where like there's some kind of stip or he's basically
we haven't even said the match yet. It's him versus Kofi in a tables match is what Teddy Long makes it.
They said that,
but
someone said that, but whatever.
But either way, like what Sheamus did particularly well, like in at least TLC and in this one, is that he tries to use his strength, and like showboat using the least amount of effort. Like he tries to bring like really hard hits and like in this case Kofi is like ducking around and kicking him and like finding more intuitive ways to take him out, like working harder to kick him out, while Sheamus is like setting up a table for if not the match end, then just like a kind of showboat spot. There was one point in the match where Kofi was on the ground and Sheamus put like an unset up table on top of him and just stood on top of him. It's a good way to sort of put over your characters, really showboaty, but not but not like. Sorry, I've actually lost my train of thought.
It's a good way to say they're showboats and they're show-offs, but they're not like flamboyant about it, I think is where you were going. Or am I wrong?
Or basically,
not overly theatrical.
Yeah.
Not goofy.
Yeah.
Is that which are generally the.
Well, I was actually trying to put over that like he makes like little use of like any effort, but nonetheless like that kind of
efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, midway through this match, Sheamus sets up a table in the back, which would pretty much like figure the finish of it. There was like a lot of instances of that, like Sheamus setting up tables in arbitrary positions. Like at one point they set one up on the corner, which, hey, I was hoping for him to do like a suplex, like a la Taz, but Taz in his prime. But nonetheless, it didn't happen. It was mostly just like him maybe threatening a spine buster. At one point he threatened to do the high cross on it, but Kofi kind of wormed away. The finish pretty much happened when Sheamus attempted the bro kick. Kofi rolled away and hit the Trouble in Paradise. Sheamus falls on the table to the outside. Kofi gets to the top rope, boom drop through the table, new U.S. champion. How do you guys feel about this change?
I don't know. It serves its purpose to get the title back on Raw because I guess they don't want to get the title out. And as for Kofi, I don't have any problems with it, but they're just waiting until they put the belt on someone else. Yeah,
more or less. I mean, he's clearly just a placeholder until they can get the next guy they want the belt on. I mean, that's all Kofi is. He is New Shelton. We don't have anything to do with the Intercontinental Championship. Well, put it on Shelton. Okay, like that's all he really does now.
Again, if I've said it once and I've said it like a dozen times, that Kofi's proficient on the mic. He's comfortable on it. And every time he cuts a promo, it gets a good enough reaction from the crowd. To me, he's basically John Morrison, only he knows what he has to say.
Yeah.
He doesn't just say big shit. He actually speaks like he's having a conversation, only it doesn't sound awkward. Like John Morrison.
A couple of things on this match. First of all, I understand the point is the entire gimmick match show, but I still wish that they could have made at least one or two matches, just ordinary matches, and I think this would have been one of those.
Yeah.
Should have been, because they didn't do anything wrong out there, but I found myself just kind of apathetic towards this match. I mean, the finish was really good. Don't get me wrong. That was a spectacular spot. And they didn't fuck anything up, but I just found myself not caring. And I like both of these guys. I don't know if they just didn't really click, or...
It's too much of a good thing, really.
Yeah, plus I kind of thought, I think the most recognizable spot was probably just the leg drop finish. Beyond that, it was mostly stuff after Sheamus sets the table up outside where they slide under it and stuff like that and avoid going through it. It was a lot of skirting around.
Yeah, and also being another big gimmick brawl right after we'd already had frankly, a much better big gimmick brawl. I think it hurt a little bit in comparison.
Could have rearranged it.
Yeah, if they were going to do this, I would have done this match first.
Yeah,
and
this is
either the next match, Ray and Cody, or Punk and Orton, and something else in between that to cool us down a little bit.
Yeah, it was okay match. It wasn't wasn't great, wasn't awesome. Aside from the spot that ended it, which was pretty cool, but other than that, it was just kind of there.
This is one of those, because there was only, 6-7 matches on this show, and they could have, it was one of those shows where all the matches went long, which is a good thing, but still, they could have trimmed 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there off of every match and stuck in another one in the middle somewhere. Hey, a big 6-man scramble match or something to get more guys on the show.
Yeah.
Because this was a show where which they basically did later with the lumberjack match.
Then again, this was a better ad hoc match than that one, but again, we'll get to that as we get.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, our next segment, it's time for R-Truth acting insane again.
Woo!
Oh, I love this gimmick.
Yes.
I love this gimmick now.
Yes.
This is
Because
basically
now
the
he's
same
claiming
gimmick he was doing in his
claiming
TNA
now
days.
He's claiming now that he was removed from the main event because it's a conspiracy. They're trying to keep me down.
Yeah, this is the exact same gimmick he was doing when he was TNA World Champion during that brief run back in 2002. Except back then it was a race thing. Here it's just everybody hates him personally.
They're dancing around the race issue. Like I don't think Vince McMahon has the humility to tackle something like that.
Yeah,
so
I don't think they have the
N-word when talking about. Yeah.
But yeah,
Vince is a guy who's dropped the N-word on live television. I don't think he's afraid to do it.
Yeah, talking with John Cena.
His sponsors are afraid for him to do it.
Yeah, I do like seeing what Truth. As a matter of fact, I wish Truth had a match, because that means we wouldn't have to talk about this bullshit feud in this fucking stupid ass match, and I'd be a lot happier right now.
First of all, can I say that I'm disappointed we didn't see Little Jimmy again?
Oh yes.
I'm disappointed about that.
But yeah,
let's just kind of.
This next match is the one that I think it broke No Leaf, and I think it's going to break him again.
Yeah, let's try to band-aid this one.
I'm not broken. I am very zen about the fact that this is the feud that never ends, and it goes on, our friends, and some people started watching it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue watching it forever just because this is the feud that never ends.
No more details.
I like it.
Let's try to band-aid this.
I liked that match. I'm sorry. I thought it got its point across. I thought they did everything well. I thought the spots made sense. With the sole exception of Jim Ross putting on the ankle lock on Jack Swagger, that was weird. But then I thought somebody else should. What if that's part of the fucking finisher war with Kurt Angle? Because he's constantly whining about that. We're going to have the elderly, obese announcer use your finisher. Fuck you.
Former announcer.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see Kurt Angle's Twitter just respond to that.
Everyone! God damn it!
But I thought it made sense, because if they must continue the feud, this was as well as they could have. I liked the bubble wrap gimmick. That was actually a brilliant choice, because they needed something insubstantial that could easily be torn right off him. It's not like he was going out there like in full hockey pads or shit. But something which would be believable as the whipping. Yeah, well, that's the overall booking. In the micro booking of just this show tonight, I thought this worked.
But the feud is continuing.
Yeah, well, we can't change that. And honestly, I don't hate the feud that much. It kind of entertains me. At times, I think Cole sometimes goes way overboard with his heel act when he's doing it on commentary all night long. I hated the crowning or the knighting ceremony segment, but here, tonight's segment, this match, I did not mind it. I thought they got the point across, they gave the crowd what they wanted to see, and they did what they need to do to further the angle.
Well, essentially it went like this. Cole and Swagger come out first, and Cole is conspicuously adorned in bubble wrap. So he can't get strapped, which begs the question of how they'd allow him to do that if he agreed to be in this match. Ross and King come out after. There's eventually, like a lot of teases. I believe it's King and Swagger that start off, where King leads Swagger onto the corner and JR starts whipping him from his position on the aprons. A lot of that, just basically like those kind of comedy spots where JR's whipping him, Swagger threatens him, and then King starts whipping him.
Yeah, I mean, the basic story here is that if either King or Ross could just get their hands on Michael Cole, they would fucking destroy him. But young Jack Swagger is a good enough wrestler that he can damn near beat two guys at the same time.
I'm going to stop you right there. Here's the problem. There was a prolonged at least 2 minutes where JR was alone in the ring with Michael Cole lying there helpless, and he didn't do shit to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing the Dusty shimmy, which is odd. But he did eventually strap him, just not enough. I wish he would have gotten whipped a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think they were kind of going light on him, too. Like,
he was playing to the crowd most of all, and that is not how you're supposed to build something like this. The man has humiliated him on TV at least twice. You are supposed to beat his ass.
But the problem is, I mean, when Jim Ross does it, he either has two versions of offense, because Jim Ross is a clumsy old fat guy. Number one, it looks like the clothesline he hit Cole with in the match, which is like world's worst ever. I do have a better clothesline than that, for Christ's sakes. Or it looks good because he's legitimately hitting him so hard he's breaking his hand. So it's honestly, you can't have Jim Ross doing much offense, because either it's going to look like shit or get someone hurt. Which is saying, well, why'd they start the feud in the first place? That's the better question, but once they're in it, they have to handle it as best they could. I thought for the most part they did it as best they could. There's a few fuck-ups here and there, but I've seen much worse non-wrestler matches than this.
After just to finish it, after like a sort of dispute with Ross putting the ankle lock on Swagger tagging Cole saying it wasn't valid. JR takes it to Cole. He gives him a shoulder block in the corner and then starts whipping him. Swagger tries to interrupt, like he gets low blowed and like gets whipped by JR again, and Cole basically rolls up Ross. Finish. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Oh God, it's never gonna end.
No, it's not. Anyways, moving on. Next we have a promo for Over the Limit. No use talking about that. But then this kind of pissed me off right here, because it's Todd Grisham interviewing John Cena, and all it really is Cena complaining that it's been about 10 months since he's held the title.
Yeah. It's been too long. It's time for me to get the belt back.
I was amused by this. He was like, I've been through everything. I've been through the Miz. I've been through the Nexus. I've been through the new Nexus. He's like, really? How? How are you through the new Nexus? Like that?
Yeah, you weren't even
for a week and a half. They briefly feuded.
CM sucks.
Yeah, remember that?
That Jim.
Yeah.
The worst new Cena catchphrase since he was calling Jericho "Why too cheap." I still don't understand what that even meant.
What does it mean?
I guess he's not like swanky. He's cheap.
No, the theory was that because he was a self-promotional whore, but it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but
let's move on to
let's move on to something happy, something positive, a good match.
Sunshiny pastures.
Yeah, another match that it exceeded the fuck out of my expectations. Like, well, I thought it was going to be good. Then the match started, and I was like, wait, this is a Falls Count Anywhere match. All it's going to be is brawling in the crowd, like maybe a slam or two, like just useless kind of spots into the barricade that we probably already saw and better in the first match.
You were expecting Road Dogg versus Big Boss Man in a cookie sheet wandering match.
I don't even want to know.
Because they did that shit like every fucking week on Raw in 99 and 2000, where they'd have a hardcore title match where guys would wander to the back, hitting each other with various wacky implements. And it was some combination of Al Snow, Bob Holly, Crash Holly, Big Boss Man, and Road Dogg all the time.
We're going to end up watching this in the post-show, aren't we?
Which one? There were hundreds.
Yeah, really.
But either way, like Cody and Ray, they proved me the fuck wrong. Cody comes out and he has those assistants with him who have the paper bags. They don't really make such a big deal out of this. Certainly not as much as they did on SmackDown 2 Fridays ago. Where basically
they did it quickly here.
Yeah. It was good that they de-emphasized it, but nonetheless, it's fairly normal at first in the ring. Like Ray does a head scissor takedown. Like they kind of trade kicks from Ray, punches from Cody, and eventually they go up the ramp. And Ray, one of the first notable things that happens is Ray slams Cody into the Tron, the entrance ramp Tron. For reference, it's usually the place where Cody's mirror would be. I digress. I believe Cody gets thrown to the concrete from the entrance stage and Ray dives off it. But it's at this point that they start brawling up into the crowd. And the point at which I was like, wow, this is really cool, was when Cody basically has Ray like around a stairway railing through the fan steps, and he puts him in a Boston Crab through it.
He basically puts Tajiri's tarantula on him around this handrail.
Yeah, without hooking the arms, and it really looked good. At this point, they continue into like the upstairs like concession area, I guess. Like they get slammed into plastic garbage cans. Ray throws the lid on him, and then Cody knocks Ray into this like kind of table counter area, and he jumps off it and chuck kicks Ray.
Which gets a holy shit chant out of the crowd in the hallway, who were like better than the crowd in the arena, by the way.
Yeah, really.
Like, can we have the hallway crowd for all our events from now on? There was a "This is awesome" chant. How close is Tampa to Orlando?
Well, either way, probably much more emphatic and genuine one than you get at the Impact. Oh wait, no more Impact Zone.
Well, hey. No, that's not confirmed. We'll get to that show, I'm sure, soon.
Yeah.
So they were doing cool shit, and Ray's fucking springboard off the concessions counter. I found myself wondering, God, that's not like the ropes. You can't know exactly what the footing is there, but he did it perfectly anyway.
Yeah, really.
He just jumped up. There could be mustard smeared all over the goddamn thing for all he knows, but he nailed it perfectly.
That whole sequence of moves was pretty impressive. I remember going, oh god, they're brawling through the crowd again, blah, blah. And then they got to that part, it's like, holy shit, this is actually kind of sort of awesome.
Like, it was good just for those, like, couple of notable spots, but, like, they get back into the ring, like, they're on the outside, Ray charges at Cody, and he throws him hard over the barrier. A bunch of counters, and Ray does like a lot of great stuff, like springboard crossbodies, headbutts, and he teases a 619. Cody goes out of the way, and he gives him a couple of low blows. They're hung up on the ropes, and at one point Cody slams his head on the mat. They somehow get back up there, and Ray spits blue mist at him. The face.
Yeah, he gives him the Muda.
Yeah. And
it was funny. Booker actually mentioned the Great Muda.
Yeah.
But he got up for him.
And by the way, I don't think it's sort of lost on us. We don't put over the commentary enough unless they say something like particularly notable, but it was good tonight. We may have made fun of Booker in the past for kind of stating the obvious, but he nonetheless.
He and Josh Matthews, I thought, worked remarkably well together as a pay-per-view announce team. They had King with them for the first match and Cole with them for the last few matches, but even then, I thought they worked all right. I thought those two guys proved that they deserved to be here on the big show.
Yeah, I really can't disagree with you. But eventually, Ray hits the 619 post blue mist and gives him the falling splash.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio wins.
1, 2, 3 wins.
Again,
there was
kind of wanted him to Cody win, but I don't really care. It was better than the one-sided feud he had with CM Punk last year, which produced good matches, but didn't bring Punk anywhere.
Yeah, this still didn't. This makes Cody look like a liar and a psychotic fool, but it doesn't make him look like a pussy. You know?
Yeah, and at the very least, Cody
still looks like he's dangerous in this feud.
Yeah,
and he still won the match at WrestleMania, which is a pretty big deal. And also, there was one spot I'd like to point out when they were coming back from the concession stand towards the ring. At one point, Ray stood up on the ring barrier, and he was gonna do some spot where he ran down it and was probably going to jump on Cody from behind. And he was motioning and saying, people move, get back. But there was people a little bit further down the barrier. I noticed a kid and a few others who were just sitting there and not moving, their hands resting on the thing. If this was TNA and this was, maybe Jeff Hardy, they would have said, fuck it, and tried it anyway. And probably stomped on a young child's hand. Since it's WWE and Rey Mysterio, and he is very good and knows what the fuck he's doing, he's like, oh well, can't do the spot, and just hopped down and went about his business.
But past that, we go backstage and all the divas are gathered in the locker room, probably watching the pay-per-view, like hanging out. Layla comes in and she's like, well, I'm damn sure you hate me, like, but if I've ever said or did anything to you in the past, I'm sorry. Like, I want to make amends. The rest of the divas look suspicious, but Kelly says, like, oh, McCool's pretty much a bitch. We hate her a whole lot more. Yeah. So, you got to pass. And
since they're obviously turning her babyface, they had to do something like that at some point.
Yeah.
Glad they did. I mean, I kind of didn't even expect a promo like that, as minor as it was, but it was a good thing that they did it.
Although I do have to ask, how much did they spend on flying those girls out and putting them up in hotel rooms for the night just for that spot?
What?
Well, Vince is a crazy bastard. Do you think he cares?
Actually, they did have to be there to react to what happens after post-match, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, yeah, but still, it was an extravagance. It was the sort of thing where, like, if you're trying to cut costs, that would have been the first thing to go. It's like, no, they can join us in Raw tomorrow.
But, either way, we have now our no DQ, no count-out, loser leaves. Damn it. That gag didn't work. But anyway, no DQ.
Oh, wait. No. Go back and do it again. Yeah, do it again.
So, we go from the backstage segment to our no DQ, no count out, loser leaves
WWE
match. Layla versus Michelle McCool. And, like, I wouldn't say there were so many memorable spots from this, but nonetheless, it was hard fought enough. Like, it was a nice, 5 to 7 minute.
They tried. I mean, I didn't see any obviously badly blown spots, but still, it was a 5-minute chick match between basically two heels, one of which had been turned babyface 6 minutes ago, and it's still Michelle McCool and Layla out there, and even with their best efforts, the crowd mostly seemed like they just didn't care. And I couldn't blame them.
That's the thing, I like Layla in the ring, and I like her on the mic. I like Michelle McCool in the ring, not so big on her on the mic. The thing is, they've been heels for years. They've been dominating the Divas division for years. The crowd doesn't give a shit. They don't react, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, they've been taught that the Divas mean fucking nothing. They are sideshows. They don't even interact with the rest of the angles or the people on the card for the most part. I mean, they're in their own separate little pocket universe.
But nonetheless, the match was, it went on, a lot of the no DQ stip went into, them slamming each other in the barriers, slamming each other into the announce table, doing stuff like that. Layla got to hit her, really, stiff-looking neckbreaker. It's just the way that the receiver sells it. There's, it just, sells it very rigidly, and it it just looks quite good, but nonetheless, the finish was basically they're back in the ring after brawling with each other. McCool rolls Layla up, but she counters it into a backslide, and McCool is left in the ring, broken down and crying until
dun dun dun.
Kharma is a bitch.
Fucking Kong. Or there we go. There's our catchphrase. Kharma is a bitch. Yeah. Awesome Kong comes out and fucking murders Michelle McCool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, all the divas are in back oh my god.
What are we gonna
do? And I just love how Awesome Kong was playing this character, because you see her in the ring afterwards, and she's looking
really
down
over the top, but she's trying to get herself over.
And she keeps switching back between maniacal laughing and and then immediately switching back to just glowering down, really jarring kind of. I thought it worked really well.
Bipolar and fast forward.
I mean, honestly, we were discussing this months before, and we were we'll probably see Kong with a different name, maybe Kong on the FCW page, and she might be there for another 3 months, another 4 months. Oh, she's not coming up soon, is she? But seem to be using her the way that she was used in every single other place she's been in and gotten over in. So, I mean, Implant Buster on McCool, Divas react, good.
I'm frankly shocked they treated her this well, because for a few reasons. Number one, when's the last time they actually gave a shit about the Divas and tried to do a serious angle with any of them? Number two, who would have expected them to make Kong into anything but, like, maybe the female version of Rikishi?
Yeah.
You know? And number three, when's the last time they did, like, a debut or surprise of any kind on a fucking pay-per-view? They have not done nearly enough of that stuff in recent years. They used to save all their best shit for the pay-per-views.
Fuck, they hyped up Del Rio, they hyped up Sin Cara. Both of them debuted on a weekly show.
Yeah. And now it's like, oh yeah, the pay-per-views are fucking special. People are paying for these shows. We're supposed to give them something a little extra.
Well,
so even though Kong was very slow to get to the ring and finally kill her, I still enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they won't call that move the fucking implant buster. And even if they call it like the Kharma slap or something, that's still a step up. God, I hated that name.
Diva Killer, who the hell knows? But
Diva Killer, maybe. Well, they can't say kill.
Oh, no. Yes.
The Diva Compromiser.
The Diva Compromise to a permanent end.
Oh, permanent end.
Yeah.
God damn it. But we hate to transition so roughly, but what happens next, like, more than likely for the result of it, but nonetheless, the result definitely came, the conclusion followed from the premises, as you'd say in intro philosophy. And
anywho.
Don't discombobulate yourself.
That was a hothead kind of thing to say.
I don't know.
Oh, be quiet, you.
I just want to get to the next match, because this is the match I think we were all excited for. Am I right?
I was both excited and very much dreading it.
Well, see, I wasn't...
Go ahead.
I wasn't dreading it at all, because, like, whether Christian won or Del Rio won, like, I would have been fine with the result.
Yeah, but I really wanted Christian to win.
Neither one of them had ever been champion, and a lot of people think that Del Rio should have won at WrestleMania. I mean, so either way, you're having a brand new champion who deserves it. It was win-win.
Yeah. I think we were all dreading it a little bit, even if we don't want to admit it, because, let's face it, this might be Christian's only chance at a world title.
Yeah. I was fully expecting Alberto to go over here. I was actually a little surprised when Christian did.
Yeah.
But, I was too. I didn't think they were going to put the belt on him. I said that in my prediction. I thought they were going to have him, like, Del Rio fucking win, and then, you know, he'd drop it to Orton on Raw or something like that. But fucking Christian's World Heavyweight Champion. It's kind of insane to even say.
Yeah, it's very...
I mean, he's been getting there in increments. First the TNA belt, then the ECW belt, and finally the real one. Well, as real as the SmackDown belt is real, it seemed, within the WWE anyway. It did jerk the curtain at WrestleMania, but still, it's a world title and a legitimate one.
It's still real to me, damn it. But...
right.
Awful.
But, like, it would kind of be very foolish of me to even try to, for us to even try to go through this, like, kind of progressively, but, like, if we could
just thinking about all the shit they did.
If we could just remember it, like, just, like, our favorite moments. One of the things was that early on in the ring, Del Rio sets up a pretty long ladder between the apron and the announce table, and that doesn't get used for a long time.
Yeah, that just sits there.
But it makes an impact when it does.
If I had to pick a favorite spot, it would be that suplex that Del Rio took right in the ladder. That looked like it hurt.
Oh yeah.
Or how about Del Rio coming off the fucking ladder, like jumping off the ladder to the ladder that was set up between the table and the apron, and I'm sitting there going, well, that's a fake ladder. It's one of those ones that's filled with sawdust and wood, and we'll all laugh because the sawdust will leak out. And then he hits it, and I was like, holy shit, that was a real one.
Yeah, it was him jumping off the top rope on the turnbuckle. Christian was laid out on this ladder, which was stretched between the ring and the announce table. Christian moved, and basically, basically Alberto took a flat back bump from the top onto this fucking ladder, and like, yeah, if you also have to retire for spinal stenosis at some time in the future, this may be why.
Yeah, be our guest.
That was the one spot that I thought might have been unnecessarily dangerous. That was a little much for me.
And, like, even beforehand, I mean, this was like 5-10 minutes before that spot even happened. They were teasing the hell out of that ladder, like, with spots where Del Rio would try to whip Christian into it. He'd slide underneath, try to do a suplex from the ring apron to it, stuff like that. Other great.
Well, aside from that big bump that we just mentioned, I noticed Del Rio didn't take too many bumps off the ladder because they kept doing the spot where Del Rio's climbing for the belt and Christian comes in to tip the ladder over, and Del Rio would always just jump off.
Yeah, he'd land on his feet. He did this 2 or 3 times at least.
Yeah, because he knew he was going to have to take one hell of a bump, and he didn't want to fucking, fuck up his shit more. He's like, okay, I'm going to have to take this big bump at some point in this match. I really don't want to take a bump here. Oh, God, this is going to suck.
That's the thing, is that, and it would have devalued, I mean, it would have hurt him more, and it would have devalued those later bumps. If we see him take a bunch of, say, on a 1 out of 10 scale, if we see him take a bunch of 6 and 7 and 8 bumps, it makes that 10 bump he takes at the end look slightly less impressive, because we're already kind of burned out.
Yeah.
So once teasing it, and then holy shit!
I'm surprised we didn't get another chance past that, but hey, it didn't even matter.
And they had the step ladder, the little weenie ladder that was 3 feet tall, and it wasn't a comedy spot. They were doing actual stuff with it, including when Brutus Clay ran in. Brutus Clay ran in and basically got that ladder impaled into his brain. I mean, he on the outside was leaking a fucking puddle onto the mat.
No, I saw that blood on the. Yeah, I saw that blood on the mat.
He bled so hard that he got the blood splashed onto Christian's face, and at one point he's rolling out of the ring selling. You could see him checking his face, fuck, am I bleeding?
It's just looking at the red ass blood on the mat, it was a deep red. I thought for a second it would zoom in, credits would roll saying, "You have just watched WWE Extreme Rules." Fans of Italian horror, but either way, another good spot with that small step ladder was, I believe Christian and Del Rio are in the middle of the bigger one, and Del Rio just takes Christian's arm and slams it down on the step ladder. That looked like it hit really hard.
And it was a hell of a match. And then I do wish at the end they did a gimmick where after Brodus and Ricardo interfered to help try and give Del Rio the easy victory, he climbs up and he's almost at the top. And then out of nowhere we hear this honking. And before that, we hear the audience screaming in an unusual manner. Holy shit, something's happening, and it's not the reaction you get to just Alberto reaching for the title. So I'm like, someone's doing a run-in. Why aren't they showing the run-in? Hello, are you going to ever point a camera at the run-in? And so 30 seconds later, finally, there's Edge. He drove in his own Jeep past Alberto's car, and now he's leaning on the horn and laughing maniacally to distract him.
I thought that was hilarious, especially the car he drives in on.
Yeah, an off-road Jeep.
Maybe when Edge was coming into the ring to just basically bring Brodus Del Rio down, I thought what was going to happen was he was going to completely take out both of them. Or actually, I don't even know how this would have led to a finish, but he was like, "You thought I had to retire when I was injured? You're wrong. And that certainly would have gotten him over as a heel, but nonetheless.
Yeah, well, basically it was because, I think they just said, we're not going to have Edge ever make contact with anybody in the near future, so just honk the horn.
Yeah.
That'll be enough. And then after the match, he came into the ring and celebrated with Christian. So if this is the last time we see Edge for a while, it would be a good way to go out.
I mean,
of course, he's been on TV every fucking week anyways, ever since he retired. But.
Interestingly enough, though, Christian never got to hit the Unpretty or the kill switch, but he did spear Del Rio in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute.
Good crowd
Although,
moment.
I mean, it's a ladder match, so you don't really have to hit your finish.
Right.
And the last time we tried to do the kill switch off the top of the ladder, it didn't really work, so... Remember the one he gave to Punk at WrestleMania? We were like, that would have been a cool spot if he had landed that at all.
They got it right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky fucking spot to do. That's an awkward move in the first place. Even just doing it standing on the mat, I've seen plenty of people fuck that one up.
So, up next, we get our...
we got to talk about Miz and Alex Riley backstage just because of one simple quote that Alex Riley did, he busted out some Steiner math just to give the Miz his chances tonight.
Except his math was accurate.
You have a 33% chance of winning this match, Miz.
But if you take his 25%, if we were to go one-on-one, and add my 66%, you have 33 to third chance percent.
Yeah. So I have a 127% chance of winning this match.
Something like that.
Steiner's version was better, yeah.
But basically, the hint is that there's dissension among the ranks of Miz and his vice president of communications or something. Pretty much just A-Rise going to SmackDown, and I thought this would favor into their match later on, but it didn't.
No,
it
didn't I don't think Riley was even out there ever, as I recall.
No, I don't know. And the strange thing is, he had that leather-bound Letterman vest that he wore at the last pay-per-view, leading me to believe that he'd be in the entrance at least, but no. Either way, we go to our next ad hoc match along with the U.S. title match. It's a lumberjack match for the tag titles. Zeke and Barrett versus Big Show and Kane.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Boring.
Kane, Big Show.
And I usually like Kane and Big Show matches, but I did not like this one.
Yeah, because it was a nothing match.
SmackDown match.
Yeah, and they didn't even bother to announce the fucking lumberjacks. I didn't recognize half of them.
Yeah, because they were all NXT guys. Apparently, they were guys from NXT, and none of us have been watching NXT, so we wouldn't really know.
No, we all know who they are. They're all redemption fuckers, like the people who didn't get over on the previous Conor O'Brien, Jacob Novak, Titus O'Neil, god damn it, Darren Young, who I like, but that was a function of WWE snubbing him. He should have just debuted with Percy Watson and done his tag team from FCW. I digress.
Yeah.
No, among these people, there's Evan Bourne. There's D.H. Smith and his new cowboy gimmick. There's no Daniel Bryan, nor is there Zack Ryder. At least, forget about it. It was following some damn good matches, but nonetheless, the only reason why they did this was to put over more dissension in the core. They're boiling it a little.
Yeah. It was...
Basically, now Zeke is challenging Barrett, even though before he was challenging Slater and Gabriel. He's probably just going to break off on his own.
Well, let's move on to the triple threat match, because this was a rice cake match. Nothing happened.
What?
A rice cake match. You know how a rice cake doesn't taste like anything? It's not really healthy for you. Just kind of there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the triple threat match.
It was. Hey, everybody, forget about those giant bumps before we have to go to our slightly less spectacular main event.
And up next,
I thought this was overall, I thought it was a decent enough match, a triple threat, with a couple of qualms. Basically, the fact that there were times when Morrison was fucking on his way out, and because of the psychological mechanics of the cage match or something, Miz drags him in, or he steps in to take on the Miz, who's about to, even though he could just drop.
Yeah,
win the belt.
there were a few times when it's like, I know his gimmick is that he's Spider-Man, but they really needed to be a little bit of slow climbing at times in this match, because they had to have, at least a couple of times, they had to have somebody sprint across the fucking ring and catch Morrison before he was all the way out.
And it's like, I really dug the Starship Pain onto both Miz and Cena down below, but could he have jumped off instead? And, I mean, I'm harping on the same point, but... Yeah.
Well, I mean, the gimmick is that's his move, and it's supposed to be a springboard, so that was the only way he could really do it.
I don't know. I was a bit disappointed by this match, not just because of the finish, but I felt like Morrison didn't get to do as many high spots as he should have been able to do in a cage match.
Oh, I didn't have any complaints. I thought it was still like the best of both worlds, but...
Well, the whole reason they replaced him with R-Truth was so that he could do a whole bunch of crazy shit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did compared to, like, Cena.
Well, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Cena barely did fucking anything in this match, I noticed. I mean, he was just doing the most basic stuff, like stuff that's lower than what I know Cena's capable of doing.
Well, yeah, it kind of reminded me of his part in the Elimination Chamber, where pretty much everyone else did everything, and he came in with an attitude adjustment at the end, title shot.
Yeah. It's really weird because Cena's supposed to be the guy that has, like, the crazy work ethic and they'll do anything for the WWE. But in these last two, like, gimmick matches, and even at WrestleMania, even though, you know, whether he was hurt or not, or
everything in that match sucked, so that wasn't really his fault.
Well, yeah, but still, just these last three pay-per-views, it's just been like Cena hasn't put on that, like, effort for some reason. And maybe it's because he's, like, maybe he's working hurt or something and we don't know about it, but it's just, he's not doing anything.
And he did do a couple of cool spots. There was where he, like, powerbombed Morrison into the cage, and in the end was the FU off the top. And not the top of the cage, the top rope. You know, that's one thing about having a cage. It's a hell of a lot easier to do a move off the top because you've got the cage to steady you.
Yeah.
And even Andre did a move or two off the top of a rope when he was in a cage match. I mean, it was nothing great. It was usually like where he came down with a butt drop where he basically landed on his feet. But still, Andre the Giant coming off the top rope. That's what one thing a cage match can help you do.
But either way, getting back to the Starship Pain spot, now I kind of realize why they did that. Like, he does a Starship Pain to Cena and Miz, and Morrison's about to leave through the door, which is another concept of WWE's cage matches or any of that I don't understand. Like the cage door where they sometimes open it for you. R-Truth comes in
that way anyway.
Yeah, R-Truth basically comes. Actually, there was one time on Raw, but R-Truth comes in and fucks him up and does the friggin' downward spiral on him or something.
Yeah, R-Truth comes in and fucks his world up and climbs out, and the announcers did a good job in both saying, hey, wait a minute, if this was fair and there hadn't have been any interference, fucking John Morrison should be the champion right now. And B, It was also of Truth making the point, hey, asshole, this is supposed to be my match. I'm taking you out in it, and here's me climbing over the top of the cage gratuitously because the door's right the fuck beside me for no reason, just to make the point I could have won this.
Yeah.
And I still don't like how they were trying to portray Morrison stealing his title shot as a babyface move, because this is like the worst idea for a heel turn ever, because it's completely justified. I mean, Truth is basically a guy who's completely in the right, but just being an asshole over it.
Well, see, now he's just going crazy, so he's the Orton type of heel. Oh, wait. Imagine if they turn him face with the same gimmick.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In the middle of his what's up rant, he stops to nervously look around, puts on a tinfoil hat. A tinfoil hat with its own dreads included that stick out the side of it.
But either way, at the end of it all, like, Cena takes the title once again. I was actually not expecting this to happen. I thought that they'd keep it on the Miz again.
Yeah,
like that's precisely why they would have put Morrison in the match so that Miz could get the pin.
Yeah.
But, for anybody, you know, A, there's an extra guy to pin. B, it's a cage match where you don't have to pin anybody. This is screaming for a fuck finish and Miz to go over.
Yeah.
And Cena wins.
And this is
odd.
really...
I wouldn't have done that. Odd way to take the belt off.
it's really got me worried because they've already booked Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania. Is he really going to hold the title the whole year?
No.
Good God, I hope not.
He will give it to Del Rio. That's my prediction.
Well, then he's going to get it back again, which is just going to be worse. Yeah. It's pad out his numbers.
Also, who says that the Rock match has to be for the title?
Cena said so.
Okay, well, maybe they'll forget about that.
Something like he wanted to be champion by time WrestleMania came out or something like that.
Yeah, but they could change their mind about that because the match is big enough it doesn't need a belt. It's like the Undertaker itches.
But either way, this will definitely be a torch passer match, whether it's for the title or not. And I don't think that Cena's going to have it for 11 fucking months.
Oh, God, I hope not.
They've done it before.
Not that long.
Sound to be knocking on wood.
SummerSlam 2006. He held the belt past WrestleMania onto the next SummerSlam. I think it was a 14-month reign he had.
Yeah.
Fuck.
They've done this before.
He was fresh.
I had to have lost it at some point.
There has been precedent set for this. He did have a 14-month title reign.
And that's still when they were kind of trying to make everybody understand. No, look, seriously, guys, he is our new Steve Austin. Damn it, take him seriously. Because they started that, when he was getting booed at his peak, when he was getting booed harder than everybody, practically every week.
But let's put this train back on the tracks and wrap up what our thoughts were on WWE Extreme Rules.
Exceptional pay-per-view. Nothing much else. Really entertaining 3 hours.
This is just a damn fine show.
I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed WrestleMania. I'll give you that.
Yeah. It's sad because this was by a mile the better show. By more than a mile the better show.
Let's see. No, by the way, I just looked it up on Wikipedia. Fuck, you're right. He had that for a little bit over a year.
Yeah.
From 06 to 07. I forgot about that shit. Yeah, that's when I stopped watching every week.
Oh, damn.
Well, it was more the celebrity guest hosts than anything. When they finally showed up, they got me to permanently stop watching, but that's when I really fell off in my caring.
Nonetheless, our other world champion has long deserved it since 2005. So
I'm not going to shit on this just because of Cena, because I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed this pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, and I will never downplay it with Cena's win.
I'll tell you what, if Cena does something interesting, never let it be said, I won't give Cena props when he deserves it. Okay, so simple enough.
Yeah, when Cena, and he hasn't had the belt for a while, so it's not the huge big deal that Cena won the belt and now we're all depressed. This was a really good, solid wrestling show. This is a show that if they had put this show on for WrestleMania, I don't think anyone would have complained about it. And yeah.
That's the thing is that frequently Backlash or now Extreme Rules does tend to have better versions of the same matches at WrestleMania. We're not sure why, but it often does.
They should fix that.
I don't know if it's a learn from their mistakes
They want to harken back to the more celebrity kind of crossover thing, rather than something like an X7. I mean, that had a gimmick battle royal. That was good enough.
Yeah, that's also WrestleMania X7, which is
but kind of
different.
Yeah.
But on that note, it's time for us to start wrapping up, and as usual, we will end with a round of everybody's favorite game: what got more screen time than Jay Lethal?
I'm going to start us off with one. Ignignot got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
Wait, inside what? Wait, well, huh?
You guys never watched the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I assume?
Oh, yeah.
That freaking sign that kept popping up, the big green thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That is his name.
Oh, the Moon and Knight's name.
Yeah.
Okay,
and all wrestling is far superior to your...
I
have no idea how many times I tried to get Taylor to cut that promo.
But either way, for me, Steiner Math got more screen time than Jay Lethal and NXT Redemption. I should have said that.
The contents of Brodus Clay's skull got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
Fair point.
The welts on CM Punk's back got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
It was extreme.
Extreme!
Michael Cole's bubble wrap armor got more screen time than Jay Lethal.
We're going over the limit because it's extreme. Oh, over limit is in 3 weeks.
Kurt Angle's finish got more screen time than Jay Lethal. Twice. The ankle lock and the ankle
screen time than Kurt Angle's finish in TNA.
By the way, it is no longer the Angle Slam. It is officially the Orton Slam.
Oh, well.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun as always. I'm No Leaf Clover.
I'm Jingus.
I'm Christopher Says, fuck Mulholland Drive.
And I am Backlash, and we will see you next time on the Dark Match.
Good night and good luck. What was that Mulholland Drive thing?
I'm Lars!
Sweet.
Lars, you're an idiot.
Hey, Lars.
Hi, Lars.
I'm Lars!
There goes Ali.
You know that.
Nobody likes you, Lars.
Whoa, that was a good one.
I like it.
Lars,
You don't count.
Impact.
You're a TNA fan.
Lars, are you watching
Lars,
Extreme Rules right now?
do you think Matt Morgan would be able to kick Jeremy Buck?
It's boring!
Why is
Even
it boring,
this
Lars?
WWE's best pay-per-view of the year! I mean, it's extreme!
What's boring about it, Lars?
Kind of a case of you having expectations, then failing to deliver in that department too.
This is boring!
Why is it boring, Lars? Why?
Because I don't know who either of these guys are! Why am I supposed to care?
Well, the white guy's Sheamus and the black guy's Kofi.
Look at them just standing around not doing anything. Nobody's even gone through a table yet.
Hey, Lars, what do you think about...
That's
If
what
they did, the match would be
match.
over. You wouldn't want a short wrestling match, would you, Lars?
Of course I would. Then we get to more talking.
Hey, Lars, I have
They
a
had
question.
talked
What do you
before
think
the match.
Well, I didn't see that.
Like,
Hey,
commentators
Lars, I have
are
to ask you, you're a huge fan of Ron the Truth Killings when he was the NWA champion in TNA. How do you feel about his current heel turn right now in the WWE? Lars, can you hear me?
I think Lars left.
I think we stumped Lars.
Oh shit, we killed Lars, guys.
He's like,
Yes!
Ron the Truth Killings doesn't exist anymore since he left.
Yeah, you broke it and confused him.
Yes.
With the
I
help of
refuse to answer that question on the grounds that you confused me.
Oh shit.
What are you talking about? I asked you a perfectly reasonable question.
Ron Killings hasn't been the same since he left TNA.
Well, how
You're
so?
right. He's been our truth.
Exactly. I don't know who that is.
It's
Okay,
Ron
how do you feel about
Killings.
how do you feel about Christopher Daniels going to back to Ring of Honor after TNA? I honestly feel as though we're short-sighted and not pushing him for the world title.
Oh,
So he went to
I'm sick of that guy already.
Oh, there we
He
go.
went-
Ow.
Up.
There we go, Lars. We had somebody going through a table.
Well, you were talking to me. I missed it. Make it go backwards.
Okay, but
Lars, going back to Christopher Daniels.
we're gonna need you to put Backlash back on the computer, okay?
No, I have to ask. Lars,
No.
No, we're done. We're done. Let him
We're
go.
done. We're
Let
done.
him go.
we'll have it Thursday, Lars.
All right, then I'm out. TNA away.
See, it's just like
Did he just run into the
TNA.
wall again? Why does he always run into the wall? Does he not know it's there?
Motherfucker, you're the one who hired him.
So how did that
Sophie
go?
is-
That was a flurry of Larses and thing.
God.
Yeah, although I want Lars back again, and I want him on independent thinking. I'm sick of this shit. He's avoiding my questions.
Yeah, he has to be a guest host in at least one episode.